second principle for thinking like Leonardo da Vinci is dimostrazione, a commitment to test knowledge through experience, persistence, and a willingness to learn from mistakes. Leonardo came along after a 1,000-year period when no one questioned anything, and he questioned everything. He said, become an inventore, an original thinker. Learn to think for yourself. Learn from experience. What did Leonardo da Vinci's father do for a living? He was an accountant. So was his great-grandfather. It was a tradition in the Vinci family. But Leonardo's father, Piero, was not married to his mother, Caterina. She was a peasant from up the road in Anciano. And children born out of wedlock couldn't qualify for membership in the Guild of Accountancy. But for this quirk of fate, Leonardo da Vinci would have been the greatest accountant of all time. But instead, his father sent him to the studio of Verrocchio. Verrocchio is a beautiful name. Ver comes from the root like veritas, that means truth. And occhio is Italian for eye. Verrocchio was the true eye who saw Leonardo's genius and helped him cultivate it with hands-on, practical problem solving. Leonardo learned goldsmithing, he learned sculpture, he learned bronze casting, he learned how to mix paints, set up the canvas. Very practical, down-to-earth, results-oriented skills. As a matter of fact, when Leonardo da Vinci used to sign his name, if he didn't sign Leonardo da Vinci, he signed Discepolo della Sperienza. Discepolo della Sperienza. Disciple of experience. Of course, we all know that the way we get experience, the way we learn from experience, is to learn from our mistakes. The ability to learn from your mistakes and to stay focused in the face of adversity is the greatest long-term predictor of success for both individuals and organizations. Now, Leonardo da Vinci was probably the greatest genius of all time, but he made mistakes. Yet he always focused on learning from them. One of the greatest mistakes he made was when he was commissioned by the Florentine city fathers to paint a wall in the Palazzo Vecchio, the town hall in Florence. Now, they were very clever. They wanted to get a really great painting from Leonardo, and they also needed to get a great painting on the other wall, so they hired Michelangelo to do the other wall. You know who was behind this? Not making this up. It was Machiavelli. I call it the heavyweight painting championship of all time. Can you imagine it? Ladies and gentlemen, in this corner, wearing the scruffy smock with the broken nose, Michelangelo Buonarroti, the challenger. And in this corner, with the elegant rose-colored velvet tunic and the long curly auburn hair and well-trimmed beard, the champion Leonardo da Vinci. It actually happened. But both paintings never really came into being because, well, Michelangelo got called away by a more important client, the Pope. And Leonardo tried an experiment to get the paint to dry on the walls. His experiment failed, and he melted this masterpiece. Oops. But he remained focused on success, nevertheless. He wrote in his notebook, "Fix your course to a star, and you can navigate through any storm." Leonardo knew that in order to think for yourself, you had to be highly critical. You had to be willing to look at issues from multiple perspectives. He looked at everything he did from at least 3 perspectives. His anatomical dissections are done from at least 3 perspectives. His drawings of a flower, the heads he would sketch for his paintings, everything from 3 perspectives. He said, otherwise, you're subjective. He said, when I'm looking at one of my works of art, I have to literally step back from it so I can see it in a more objective way. He said, then I look at it reflected in a mirror so I can pretend it's the work of another. He says, then I sleep on it. Have you ever slept on something to solve the problem? He said, I have to sleep on it. I come back the next day and I ask my harshest critic to critique it for me. He says, only then can I say that I've really thought about it. Right? Can you apply that kind of discipline and rigor to the challenges that you face? Leonardo faced much more adversity. He lost his sponsorship of the Duke of Milan when Milan was invaded by French troops. He went down to the Vatican for a while, but lost his sponsor there when the Pope's brother died. He eventually worked his way to France. But despite it all, Leonardo affirmed his vision, fix your course to a star. As he noted in his notebook, obstacles do not bend me. Every obstacle is destroyed through rigor. What's the most valuable commodity in business today? It's independent thinking. People who can think for themselves, who can make their own decision. Combined with intellectual rigor and a commitment to success. Megan?
Thanks, Michael. Now with